I believe that the young people need to know their history. They need to know what this church is about. They also need to learn the sacrifices that the founding fathers of our church made so that they can have the privileges that they're enjoying today.
75 years. When the Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster first began back in 1951, the critics were quick to dismiss it. They called it a fad. They said it wouldn't last any longer than Jonah's gourd. But 75 years later, we aren't just still here, we're growing. As we gather to celebrate this anniversary, we look back not to pat ourselves on the back, but to say, this is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. It all started on St. Patrick's Day, 1951, in the village of Crossgar, County Down. It wasn't about starting just another denomination. It was about a simple, powerful desire, the liberty to preach the old-fashioned gospel, Christ and Him crucified.
That is the secret. Preaching Christ in obedience to the Word of God, separation from the world, not just from the ecumenical movement, but the old Free Presbyterians lived holy lives. Not saying the new ones don't, but I'm saying this is the key. Separation unto God in holiness of life, preaching Christ in all His fullness for sinners in all their need. That's what brought us to where we are, and that's what will carry us on.
The name Dr. Ian Paisley will always be synonymous with those early days. Along with a handful of faithful men and women, he stood for the truth of the Bible at a time when many were turning away from it. From that one small group, a movement was born that would eventually reach across the world. In the early years, bold protests against religious apostasy led Dr. Paisley, Reverend John Wiley, and Reverend Ivan Foster to spend 3 months in prison for their stance in 1966. What's remarkable is that while the ministers were in prison, the church grew with new congregations formed, whether protesting in Rome, in London in 1982 against the Pope's visit, in Amsterdam at the World Council of Churches' 50th anniversary in 1998, or at the World Council of Churches in Zimbabwe years later, the message stayed the same. We'll not be silenced when it comes to defending the faith. In the 21st century, protests have continued. In Edinburgh in 2010, against the visit of the Pope, Presbytery members held a service in the very room in which, 450 years before, the first presbytery was held, attended by reformer John Knox. Ministers and elders rededicated themselves to the principles of the Protestant Reformation. From those small and what many consider insignificant events in County Down, look where we are now. Ministers and missionaries are serving around the globe. 5 of our churches have independent Christian schools, and there's a regular outreach across the island under the monthly Consider Christ campaign and annual Balmoral Show and the National Ploughing Championships. In 1962, the Missionary Council was formed, followed by the Mission Board in 74. Then came the Whitfield College of the Bible in 1979 to train the next generation of labourers. We've embraced the tools of the modern age, allowing services through internet, reaching homes through Let the Bible Speak on radio and TV, and most recently, sending a gospel mail shot to every single home in Northern Ireland. What makes us who we are? It comes down to our distinctives. We are Reformed in doctrine, Protestant in our conviction, and Presbyterian in our government. We are biblical in our worship and believe in being separatist in practice, standing apart from religious apostasy and the world's attitudes and trends. In an age of compromise, we stand firm on the divine authority of the Bible. We are unashamedly evangelistic, believing the Great Commission is as urgent today as it was 2,000 years ago, and that is why we are still preaching, still reaching. As we look to the future, the days might seem darker than they were in 1951. The foes might be more numerous, but our mission hasn't changed. We rededicate ourselves today to contend for the cause of Christ. Congregations continue to erect extensions and new buildings for the future here in Northern Ireland, and we're increasing our missionary endeavour. In anticipation of God's blessing for the future, new premises have been opened for the Whitfield College of the Bible in Tandragee. Pray, as Christ commanded in Matthew 9, verse 38, that a band of labourers would be raised. By faith, we believe the end is not yet, the best is yet to be. No matter what the future brings, by God's grace, we will continue. As a denomination, we enter into the unknown future, resolved to stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. Philippians 1, verse 27. We believe the best is yet to be, 75 years down, and by God's grace, we continue still preaching, still reaching.
It's impossible to capture 75 years of our church's history in a short presentation. We invite you to watch videos of the early history of the church. Links are in the QR code in your order of service. We honour our founding fathers who stepped into the unknown and trusted in the Lord's grace, believing He would always be with them. We are grateful to all of those who, down through the years in the heat of the battle, remained faithful and stood for the cause of truth. We give thanks to those in the ranks of the church today, and we encourage them to continue this vital witness and go forward for Christ. The battle is not ours, but the Lord's, and no matter what opposition comes today, tomorrow, or in the years to come, God has pledged His help. Tonight, we look back and consider the commencement of the Free Presbyterian Church. We look around at the churches, ministers, missionaries that we have today, and we look forward to the future. Above all, we look up and praise the great King and Head of the Church for all He has done for us, in us, and through us over these 75 years. Let us cry to God to pour out upon His church a mighty spirit of revival. On this 75th anniversary, we repeat the words of Psalm 75 and the verse 1, "Unto Thee, O God, do we give thanks." In a rapidly changing world, the message of the gospel is unchanging. Therefore, by God's grace alone, we will continue, still preaching, still reaching.